I didn't think much of the strange woman in the elevator until I reviewed the footage and realized I was alone the whole time. I was in Los Angeles for a conference, and since I booked everything last minute, the only place within walking distance that didn't completely blow my budget was the stay on Maine. It looked old, but the photos made it seem decent enough. Just one of those downtown buildings with a weird mix of history and cheap pricing. I figured I'd only be sleeping there. I didn't need luxury, just a bed and working Wi-Fi. From the second I walked in, the lobby felt off. The decor was a strange mashup of trendy paint and fixtures that couldn't fully hide how old and cracked the bones of the building were. The elevator creaked when it moved. The hallway carpets felt sticky, and every door I passed looked warped, like it had seen too much water or too much time. It was my second night there when things really started to feel wrong. I had just come back from dinner, and I decided to film something funny for my friends. Nothing serious, just a quick elevator TikTok-style clip, making fun of the building's weird retro vibes. I set my phone in selfie mode and hit record. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside alone. I pressed my floor, but the elevator didn't move. Instead, the lights flickered, and the buttons began blinking at random, then went dead. I stopped recording, confused, and hit the door close button. Nothing. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the lights came back. The elevator jolted. But as I looked at the footage on my phone later that night, something made me go cold. In the background, barely visible in the mirrored panel behind me, was a shape. Not quite a figure, not quite a shadow. Just a presence. It hovered near the corner, never moving, never blinking. But I could feel it even through the screen. And here's the thing, I never saw anyone else in that elevator. Not in real life. Shaken, I went down to the front desk the next morning and asked if they could pull the elevator footage. The clerk, a pale man who seemed completely disinterested in everything I said, didn't even look at me when he replied. "There's no footage from last night," he said flatly. "Cameras aren't active after 10 p.m. I told him that made no sense. "Why? What kind of hotel shuts off security cameras overnight?" He shrugged. "Maintenance issue. Management decision. No footage, sorry." I almost pushed it, but something about his tone told me to let it go. As I turned to leave, another guest approached the desk behind me. A woman in her mid-30s with a look of mild concern on her face. She leaned in and asked the clerk if they'd fixed the water yet. "The black stuff still coming out of the faucet," she said. "Tastes like metal. Smells ... rotten." That stopped me. I hadn't noticed anything odd about the water, at least. Not until I remembered the faint tint when I brushed my teeth that morning. I figured it was just old pipes. But now I wasn't so sure. When I got back to my room, I let the tap run. At first, it was normal. Then, after a few seconds, the stream turned dark. Not pitch black, just cloudy, like diluted ink. I filled a glass and held it to the light. Tiny particles floated inside, and the smell was unmistakable. Decay, like something dead. I went to the front desk again, more forcefully this time, demanding answers. The same clerk refused to explain anything. "We're handling it," he said. "Don't drink the water. You'll be fine." I left that morning. I don't even remember checking out. I just grabbed my bag and bolted. Later, out of morbid curiosity, I did some digging. Found articles, photos, stories. the Eliza Lamb case, the water tank, the elevator video. The elevator video. It was the same elevator. Same layout, same mirror. The way she moved in that footage, suddenly stopping, peering around corners, stepping out and back in, now made more sense, because I felt it too. That presence. And just like her, I couldn't explain it. I still can't. But I keep the elevator video from my phone. I've watched it over 100 times now, trying to prove to myself that what I saw was a trick of the light or a glitch in the mirror. But every time I pause at the 38-second mark, I see the same thing, a face behind me, staring, smiling, mouth open, like it was trying to speak, but completely, horrifyingly silent. There was a tiny hole above the bathroom mirror, barely noticeable, unless you were brushing your teeth and the light hit it just right. I wish I had never looked through it. I was driving across the Southwest on a solo trip when I found the motel, the kind that clings to the edge of a desert highway, lit up by a flickering neon vacancy sign, and nothing else for miles. My GPS had gone dark 30 minutes earlier, and my phone had no service. I was too tired to keep driving and too creeped out by the silence outside to sleep in the car. So when I saw the sign, Desert Inn, $39 a night, free ice, I pulled in. The man at the front desk didn't say much. He slid me the key to room 9 without asking for ID, cash only. His eyes didn't meet mine, and his skin looked paper thin, almost translucent under the buzzing fluorescent lights. I shrugged it off. Cheap motels attract weirdos, and I'd stayed in worse. The room was just as expected, musty, dim, with a sunken mattress and an old wall heater rattling like it had something trapped inside. It was when I went to wash my face that I saw it. Above the bathroom mirror, just above the flimsy light fixture, was a dime-sized hole. At first, I figured it was nothing, just some bad patchwork or damage from a past repair. But when I leaned in closer, it looked too clean, a perfect little circle. I grabbed a tissue, climbed on the sink, and tried to plug it, but something about it made my skin crawl. I pressed my ear close, silence. Then, a creak. I backed off, trying to shake it off. I locked the door, pulled the curtains shut tight, and left the bathroom light on. I turned the old TV on for background noise, even though all it played were static-filled channels and reruns from decades ago. Somewhere past midnight, I started to doze. That's when I heard it, a soft scraping sound, not loud but deliberate, like someone dragging something metallic across the wall behind my headboard. I sat up. The noise stopped. I waited, holding my breath, heart pounding against my ribs like a warning. I got up, grabbed my flashlight from my bag, and scanned the room. Nothing. Everything looked exactly how I left it. But the air felt heavier, like the room was smaller somehow. I checked the peephole on the door. No one outside. The hallway was still. I went back to the bathroom. That hole, it looked bigger now. I swear it did. My reflection in the mirror looked off too. Maybe it was the light or the way my shadow stretched long behind me. I turned off the light for a second just to reset my nerves. Total darkness. And then I heard breathing. Slow, steady, just beyond the wall. I turned the light back on so fast I nearly broke the switch. The hole was empty, but I couldn't get rid of the feeling, like something had pulled back just in time. watching, waiting. I didn't sleep that night. I lay on the bed, fully clothed, bag packed, keys in my hand. By morning, the sun had bleached the sky bone white, and I bolted for the front desk. The same man was there. I told him about the hole, about the noise, about the breathing. He didn't look surprised. He just blinked at me and said, "Room 9 hasn't been rented in weeks." I demanded to see the logbook. He ignored me. Instead, he handed me a piece of paper. It was old, brittle. On it, someone had scribbled, "Don't stay in any room with a vent above the mirror." Below that, another note in different handwriting. "They live in the crawl space. If you see the hole, they've already seen you." I didn't wait to ask questions. I got in my car and sped out of there. No GPS, no signal. Just that motel shrinking in my rearview mirror, and the lingering thought that I hadn't been alone. That maybe someone or something had watched me through that tiny hole all night. A few days later, when I finally got signal again, I tried looking up the motel. Nothing. No record. No reviews. Even satellite maps showed just empty desert where I swore I'd stayed. But sometimes in the dead of night, I still dream of that hole. I dream of something blinking slowly from the other side. And I wake up wondering, how many places have I stayed in since, not knowing who or what might have been watching? Ask ChatGPT. The man asked for 2 rooms, but only ever used one. The second stayed empty except for the sound of someone pacing at night. I was working front desk at a roadside motel just off Route 20 in the Pacific Northwest. It wasn't much, 10 rooms, no security cameras, and a vending machine that only took coins. The kind of place people stopped for a night and then vanished back into the highway. Most of my shifts were quiet. Just me, the glow of the computer screen, and whatever radio station came in clearest after 10 p.m. It was a Tuesday night when he walked in. Tall, late 20s, maybe early 30s, wore a green hoodie with the hood up and dark jeans, no luggage. He asked for 2 rooms, paid in cash. No card, no ID, nothing. Just placed 3 crisp $100 bills on the counter and said, "Don't assign anyone to room 8. His voice was calm but low, like he didn't want the walls to hear. I told him we were nearly empty anyway, and he nodded like he already knew. I gave him keys to room 7 and room 8, both next to each other. He took them without a word and walked off down the hallway, his shoes silent on the old carpet. That first night, I thought I heard pacing, slow, rhythmic steps back and forth in room 8. But every time I got up to listen more closely, it stopped. I figured maybe he was using both rooms, or maybe someone had joined him late. But every time I passed room 8 during my rounds, the curtains were drawn, the lights off. Room 7 was the only one that looked lived in. I knocked once to check on him. No answer. Just silence on the other side. Not even a TV. The second night, same thing. Pacing, then quiet. Then, at around 3:12 a.m., a sharp knock from inside room 8. Not on the door, on the wall. 3 knocks, then nothing. I called out softly. No answer. In the morning, I checked our system. The guest hadn't checked out, and room 8 still showed as occupied under his name. But when I walked past again, the Do Not Disturb sign had been flipped on the knob backwards. The string was broken, like someone had yanked it from inside. The next day, I noticed something even weirder. Room 7's door was slightly ajar. I knocked and pushed it open. The room was empty. Bed made, bathroom untouched, lights off. The only thing that seemed used was the desk. On it, placed neatly, was a folded envelope. Inside, $120 in cash and a short handwritten note. For the room, don't open the closet. That was it. I opened the closet. There were 4 pillows stacked upright against the back wall. Not on the shelf, not in a pile stacked. Vertical. Like a person could lean their head into them and stay upright. The air inside was freezing, and there was a faint smell of cologne, or maybe aftershave. Clean but stale. Human. I reported it to my manager, but by the time she arrived, the pillows were gone. No one saw the guest leave. No car in the lot. No one checked out. Just a name on the sign-in book, Tom Gray. I searched it later. Hundreds of results. None that matched. I reviewed what little security footage we had, just the front desk cam. You can see me, that night, handing keys to someone who never looks up. But here's the thing. When I watched the footage a second time, Room 8's key never left the hook. Only one key was taken. Room 7. So who or what was in Room 8? That night I locked the office door, didn't sleep a minute. Just watched the hallway monitor. At exactly 3:12 a.m., Room 8's light flicked on. No one inside. The next morning, the bulbs in both rooms were dead. I called in sick and never went back. But sometimes I dream about the knocking, the pacing, the cold air in the closet, and the sound of something or someone pressing their head gently into the pillows, waiting. For what? I still don't know. Ask ChatGPT.